Dale Jackson, you want a cough drop?
No, sir.
I got a bunch of them. I got a lot of cough drops.
They sure look good.
Man, oh, here you go, John Bird. I'm
Thank
sorry.
you.
Candy. I'm glad we're all in the same room getting sick.
Welcome. Yes, I'm sharing the love.
We'll all get a little closer to each other.
Here's the thing. It is such a hassle to get Dale Jackson on this podcast because the date you pitched me last time was like one of the only dates we couldn't do it. We had construction going on here. Mm-hmm. And then you're like, well, I'll be back in town. First you tell me, Tuesday. And then we plan for Tuesday. And you're like, oh, wait, it's Wednesday. And then I get sick. And I'm like literally on my deathbed yesterday. And I have to push through so I can get this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to have Dale Jackson in studio.
Well, you'll only want it once. You never want it again. You got to remember this. I'm a very busy and important person. So I have all these other things going on. So I'm never going to come down here just to spend time with you.
Yeah.
You are like stopping at a rest stop before I get to my actual destination.
So I'm I have been referred to as like a truck stop, There's a lot of fun to be had at a truck stop, by the way.
Yes.
But I'm glad you made it. We're going to get one of those shirts, by the way.
Well, all you got to do is ask, and I'll get one made for you.
That's not true. All you have to do is ask. I want one for a year.
We gave away plenty of these things, and people liked them, and we just haven't gotten any made yet. But I will make you one, and John Bird, I'll find one in the dumpster or something for you. So we'll hook you up.
No, what would they be doing in the dumpster? That's the question.
Well, I mean, you see this one's kind of faded. Maybe we'll get one in there.
I like the retro look.
It's retro look.
It's distressed.
Yes, distressed. What do you think? I always ask the newbies, like, what do you think about the studio we got going on here? You like it?
It's the nicest studio I've ever been in.
Really?
Yes, and I'll say that I've been in TV and radio studios and everything like this. This is a studio intentionally built for the product you're creating.
Yeah.
So it works perfectly for that, and I think it looks really good.
One of the big things we wanted is for it to be cozy for people coming in and out. We want people to watch this podcast and think, that's somewhere I want to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you ever go into the actual radio station. Like, what is the purpose of that?
Yeah, I could just do it here.
Why would you not do it from here?
Well, and I thought Tony's the type of guy, like, if I needed to come over here, like if I was sick and I didn't need to be around people.
Yeah, bring your sickness to his house.
Tony would say,
absolutely psyched with that.
Tony would say, come to the studio. He's like, I'll produce your radio show here. He'd let me do it. We have not tried that yet, but I'm thinking maybe we need to do that in the future in case of an emergency.
No, we don't. No. Okay, emergency.
Well, I mean, you could find somebody. You could come over here too and find somebody else to run the board.
Let's not overcomplicate.
Listen,
things
they do that all the time anyway. I mean, over the past 2 weeks, I've had 16 producers. So, of course, John Bird.
Do you know that if I lived in Birmingham, I would be probably the second most used producer on your show?
You know how to produce?
Oh my God, yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, Yaffee and I in Huntsville, we run the board a lot. I always make a joke that I am the most expensive board op in the business, and Yaffee's the second most expensive board op in the business, because there are times when we have to step in and do that kind of stuff. And I would love to run your board one day. I'd get it all wrong. I mean, I'd screw it up a lot, but I would love to do it.
That'd be tough. My very first radio job.
Hey now.
Look,
there you go. I nailed it.
In my very first radio gig out in Anniston, it was one of those deals where it's just the host in studio, boards in front of you, kind of like they used to do back in the day. And so I was able to run a board at that point, but it was a very simplified board. It doesn't look like the ones we use now. Mm-hmm. But I was pretty good at it, talking and running the board at the same time. I could never do that now.
When I got to WVNN in Huntsville, my producer got ill and went off and was sick for like 3 weeks or something at a time. And they came in one day and they're like, "Where's your producer at? How come she didn't turn in a timesheet?" Like, she's been sick for 3 weeks. And they're like, "Why didn't you tell anyone?" I said, "It didn't matter. Just come in and run the board, and that's the end of it." And then budget cuts came.
Yeah.
Bye-bye, producer. For about 3 years, I ran my own board there as well.
3 years?
For about 3 years.
Wow.
For about 3 years, I did that. And it's that's an interesting type of radio. It's like without a net, You're not screening phone calls. You're taking them live. You're doing all this kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed that. But that era, I think, is probably over.
It's a good bit of job security to be able to learn everybody else's job, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, you need to. I mean, in radio, I've been a big believer in making people do everything. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, I do a little sales. I do producing. I manage people, hosting a show occasionally. You do all these things, and that way you understand what other people have to do as well. I'll screw up on my end a bunch, but I also understand why people might mess up on the other side too, because you've done a lot of it. And if you understand where the other people are coming from, it makes it all a little easier. It makes it work a little better. You obviously know what it's like to be a producer. Okay, you're not one of these guys who came into this business and they just stepped in because they had done something else in their life.
Right.
Where you like I did, worked your way up from inside the business to a show. You start off as a producer, an intern, maybe intern producer, and then to your own show. So I think that's pretty important. And those people, especially on the national level, they're disappearing because you're getting guys who are just dropping in from nowhere with big names elsewhere who are doing that. So I think it's a good skill to have.
Do you do all your show prep? Like, is all of it done by you, or do you have help from produce? Because here's the reason I ask this, because I've come across radio people that have been in the business a long time, and they will have their producers provide them with the show prep. And then their role in it is to just comment on the stories.
I've never had that.
That seems crazy to me. Like, I couldn't.
But I did that side of it. I did the producer side of it that was like that. And John Bird's my producer in Birmingham, and I just wanted to turn my mic off when I'm not on the air.
Yeah.
That's literally all I want from John Bird.
I came in after that show, and people were putting in the text like, "Thank God he didn't drop an F-bomb during that break because your mic was on."
But John is like overqualified for that job.
Oh, he is.
No, I'm dead serious. I mean, the guy has so many talents above and beyond that. I mean, he really is overqualified for that. I hate to say nice things about him, but I will. He is far overqualified for that position. But he also is very busy at the same time. And stuff like that happens all the time.
Absolutely.
Left the mic on. Like I've been known to occasionally make a mistake as well, and you just got to roll with it.
Well, I'm the same way. Anytime there's a mishap, I try to tell Bird, hey, it's fine. These things happen.
You're real good about that. You're real good about that.
He hasn't always been treated like that either. Like, he's really been hammered by...
Don't mention that guy's name. Don't you ever mention his name.
Probably several people in his past that do that. But my point being, like, I could not imagine relying not just on a producer, but anybody to give me what I need in order to do my show on any given day.
Well, I think there's a misunderstanding of what that would look like. You would have to have someone who knows you and understands you. It wouldn't be someone to just feed you stuff that is completely out of your wheelhouse. You'd have to find somebody that's willing to understand you completely and give you exactly what you need.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you need 12 poop stories a day.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody
who's going to find those. You got to find those people who know where those poop stories are.
Yeah, I don't think there's anybody out there that understands me on that level. Like, because when I come in, and John Bird knows me pretty good, he does not know what to expect day to day when I come in the studio. Like, I could go any direction. And
he does go any direction.
I don't know. Your radio's so different now,
man.
You know?
Do you know?
No, I don't know either.
Do you map out what you're going to do every single day? Like, do you?
That morning, I do.
But what I mean by that is, do you say, okay, at 11 o'clock, I'm stealing Dale's second hour, so I'm going to do...
I did map that one out.
11, 11:15, 11:30, 11:45, and then do you do that throughout the entire thing?
No, I don't. I don't map it out like that. I know what I want to do. When I do my show, I kind of want it to tell a story. I don't want to be like, hey, this is going on, and now on to the next headline, and on to the next. I want it to all kind of tie together. And so I want it to be a 3-hour story, but we are pretty organic in the sense of anything can railroad that. We can end up jumping ahead, breaking news, whatever. So that's kind of how I put it together. There's no timestamps on anything other than the wheel of segments, which is at 1:30.
I disagree with that philosophy, and all shows have different philosophies. But I'm a big believer in benchmarks. Obviously, the 7 things you should be talking about today.
Right.
10 with him in Birmingham or in Huntsville. I have a thing called Hate at 8. You just have these different things, and I like to place them throughout the show because then it forces me to stop what I'm doing and do this other thing.
Right.
And it changes what I'm doing as opposed to allowing me to get in a mess where I'm not a mess, but into a situation where I'm talking about the same thing and I get caught in a rut. So it forces me to pull the ripcord and jump out in other ways. Not everyone does it the same way.
No, I'll get in a rut and I'll just wallow around for 3 hours. I don't care.
Yeah,
Well,
there's a lot of poop in there.
A lot of
so
poop.
It's hard,
Yeah,
it's hard to get out of the rut when you're
I'll wallow in
around
poop
all
for
the
hours on
stories.
end.
Yeah.
It's good stuff. Well, I think we got a good thing going at 99.5 with the current setup, even though I stole one of your hours. But,
So fancy.
it's here's what.
It's my favorite thing that's happened since I've been there.
This is what's messed up. I stole one of his hours, and ever since then, I found myself constantly being asked to take over that hour when Del Jackson wants to go on vacation.
I don't do that many vacations, though.
Well, I mean, you just hit me up 2 days ago about doing 2 of your days.
In December, I take a significant amount of time off. I save all of my time off in order to take it all at one
and
time.
I just recently did 3 other days of your show.
All right. Yeah. So it happens occasionally. But, hey, I'll tell you what. Ask my wife if I take enough time off, and she'll tell you no. Hell, ask Cumulus because they're about to eat up a bunch of my vacation days.
Yeah.
So
We all have something in
but
common.
it's
so you're-
my own fault. I'm not suggesting it's anyone else's fault than my own. But I have a problem taking.
So you're losing vacation days because you didn't use them?
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Because I'm stupid.
I'm
It's a
the
stupid
same
thing to-
way. I was.
I mean, Cumulus would take those days from me in a heartbeat.
yeah, they would.
So I should be taking them myself.
I told John Bird, I'm like, it's almost as if I got to fill in for everybody else, but nobody fills in for me. And then Bird's like, well, you don't take any days off, so nobody can fill in for
You
you.
were literally off yesterday.
Yeah, it was first sick day I've ever taken, and the only other days I've taken off have been holidays where everybody's gone.
Yeah.
I haven't taken any vacation. I've got 4 vacation days next week where Val said, use them or lose them.
Yeah.
Or she said, if you're going to use them, I need you to use them on this week and not the other week. So so I'm taking it the week before. But I'm like, maybe I take one of those back since I had to use a sick day yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how that works.
Well, no. I
I'm
mean,
not from big corporate world.
You get
I
a
don't know.
sick day. I mean, you've earned sick days.
You earned sick days too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but I'm taking 4 days off. 3 of them were vacation. 1 of them was a sick day.
So
Did I lose that sick day by taking off
pre-planned
yesterday?
a sick day?
Well, yeah, because I was like, I'm not going to be sick between now and then. And
I'm supposed
so,
to use it as a vacation day.
well, I did. I mean, it's on paper now.
erase.
So the Tuesday was, like next Tuesday was the sick day. But I used it for the, maybe I'll just tell him I got confused. I was like, I thought I was going to be sick next Tuesday, but turned out it was this
Or
Tuesday.
why don't you just do this? Shut up.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, why don't you just do? I mean, that's probably what you should do. Is just shut up.
Now,
Man,
he was
okay.
so sick, I even wanted to go in and just talk for him for 3 hours. I felt so bad.
Well, that was brutal, man. It was so brutal. Yesterday, yesterday when I was like deathly ill, I have not been that sick since I got sick in February of 2020, and I rarely get sick to the point that it puts me down. And that was likely COVID when that happened. This time they don't know what it is. It's probably the new COVID for the 2024 election.
Did you take a COVID test?
Yeah, well, I was in the hospital last night.
Really?
Mm-hmm. No flu, no COVID. I guess they're going to run some more tests. I don't know. But they gave me a steroid shot and some antibiotics.
Sounds like it worked.
Yeah, it worked a little bit. I'm about 50% better than I was. But I laid on the couch and I was like in and out. I've been taking some, what Dayquil or whatever. Yeah. And it was one of these deals where I was like constantly falling asleep and my mouth was wide open. And then you would wake up and realize you're laying there with your mouth open, and so you're kind of startled because you didn't want anybody to see you in that shape. And then you'd fall back asleep. It was one of those deals, and I rarely find myself in that situation, but it's fine. I'm better.
I'm sure Dale finds all that very interesting, you know.
Yeah, you know how much this guy would love to be able to have a picture of me laying there with my mouth open to post it on social media.
It's probably the last thing I'd ever want.
Probably Photoshop some hot dogs in there or something. I know you.
Okay, now I do want that.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Did you see the story about Chris Cuomo bringing on the Tourette's chick from TikTok?
Yes.
That
And
was
then
such a good clip.
You laughed about it.
Oh my God, we played that on the show today. I didn't get the opportunity, obviously, to show the visual of this, but I thought.
Did you bleep it out?
No, there's no. I did on the show, on the radio show, but this isn't bleeped out. We're on the internet. We can say what we want.
Yeah.
I was
this
wondering
is
if you
so
bleeped
good.
it out on the air.
Oh, yeah. I do. Listen, the stuff I play, I have to spend probably 20 minutes of my show prep every day bleeping stuff
I'm
out.
telling you right now, there were radio shows across this country that played this clip and forgot, either played the wrong
Really?
version or missed something or something. I guarantee it.
Mm.
I guarantee it.
Yeah, not me. I'm honed in on cuss words.
That's right.
Never let them fly. Now, John Bird will let one fly. He'll go rogue and start picking his own bumper music. He did a Limp Bizkit song one time, and it was like that one Limp Bizkit song where every other word was the F word. And it started it. I knew which one it was, and I didn't remember it being on my list. And I was like, Bird, is this edited? Yeah, it's fine. It doesn't have the E on it. And then all of a sudden, F-bomb, F-bomb, F-bomb. He dumps it, but it's still going F-bomb. He hadn't turned it down.
But
And
see,
it was-
that's a problem. If there is an E with a gray square around it, then by God, you better be cursing on it.
Yeah, you can't trust him, man. You can't trust him. Anyway,
Kids today.
this video has cursing on it. This is Chris Cuomo with this girl is apparently she has Tourette's, and she's found fame on TikTok talking about her Tourette's, but a lot of people think she's full of it, including myself. I don't think she's really got Tourette's, but Chris Cuomo wanted to bring her on and figure it out for himself.
Much for coming on. And what do you hope you can do by taking the risks that you take so people can understand what you're dealing with?
I'm sorry, do you mind repeating the question? Fuck off.
What do you want people to learn?
I want people to learn that Tourette's is a neurological involuntary motor and vocal disorder. Fuck off, fuck off, fuck off. I don't tick 24/7, and there's a lot
We've
of
all wanted to say that to Chris Cuomo.
little baby weenies, fuck off. Fuck you, Chris. There's a lot of things that people don't understand. Like, people think that cussing is with everyone who has Tourette syndrome, but it's only in 10% of people with Tourette's.
And how has it been as you've gotten more famous? Do you believe that people are understanding better, or are they dopes like me who think you're acting?
I say it's the same. I think there's a lot more people that don't understand what Tourette's is, and they like to educate themselves more. So I get thousands of DMs from parents, from teachers, from girls that have been diagnosed with Tourette's, and they've had to be kicked out of school for attention seeking because they rip up their homework or do things like that.
I mean, she's
I've
pretty
had
good at
parents
it.
reach out to
I'll
me
give her that.
asking me, oh, my son's coming home with a girlfriend and his girlfriend has Tourette syndrome. So, and then I also
not trying
get
to
very evil people that would comment and say, like, go fuck yourself, Chris, lick your baby weenie, blam up your ass, buy your own biscuit, fat ass, that have told me that my parents deserved to die in a car accident because I'm faking my condition, or people have told me that, like, I've had to have the police at my house because people gave out my location and said they were going to come torch my house. Like, it's crazy.
All right, pause it real quick. I just want to analyze. Do you guys think she's for real?
I have no idea.
I'm-
why is this happening? Why is he interviewing her?
I'm watching Bird, and I can see the sympathy in his
skeptical,
eyes.
but I don't want to say it's not real. you
John
know?
Bird doesn't want to say it's not real either
Well,
because he's watching this with
There's a
sympathetic
reason-
puppy eyes.
There's a reason why. There are a couple of those ticks that I do because of my ADHD. Like,
right.
I'll do that a lot, and some days is worse than others. And then I'll go, like that
Mhm.
or pull like that. So I don't know. Maybe she's just got ADHD and decided to add those extra things.
Yeah, I think
You
that
know?
may be.
Why
I
did-
think that maybe fuck Dale Jackson, but it's.
I mean, that's part of it. She said that to him. Like she says, "F you, Chris." Like she
Right.
says that, and that part makes me think it's a little fake. But he thinks it's fake. Why does he think it's fake?
Well, as this clip goes on, he starts to buy back into the fact that this is real. The reason she's a thing is because she started a TikTok account and she's like, hey, I just want to bring Tourette's awareness. And so it's fascinating to watch whether it's real or not.
Was anyone not aware Tourette's is a thing?
Well, it's just
been-
like it's just like breast cancer awareness or all these other
I'm
things.
aware of that
you
too.
know.
Okay.
So it's, she saw how quickly she was getting followers. She probably makes a decent amount of money off of it. And so she doubled down on the Tourette's. Now she's on with Chris Cuomo, getting to say F you, Chris, which we've all wanted to do.
I wanted to say that, yeah.
She's living the dream, you know?
I don't know if it's fake, but okay.
Anyway, go ahead, because this is where Chris Cuomo starts to buy into it. And he's like, okay, maybe she's for real.
Here's the thing. Clinically, people suck. And they're mean. And they're stupid. And they try to make themselves feel better by going after others. And you are the antidote, my young friend. Because you have my kids. You have my kids repeating your lines so that it's almost become cool. And not because, it's raunchy. It's because you're being real and you're living your truth.
Oh God.
And they
He's
love
the
it.
fake
they love
one
the
here.
bravery
Good
of it.
Lord.
And so do I. And I love how you've changed your mission. You were at university. COVID was tough for you, tougher than for most, right? Really blew up your symptoms. And now you want to be a physical therapist because exercise helps you, and you
that'll
believe it's a
work
way
out.
that you can help others. A personal trainer, right?
Yes, so I go to the gym 5 days a week and I go to a workout class, splitting it throughout the week. I love exercise. My boyfriend got me into it. I've been doing it for about a year now. I love it. It's my release. I obviously go to the gym and I wear headphones, and that's also a very big factor in how fuck off, fuck Colin, fuck that bitch. That's also a really big part in my journey was starting out with him.
Well, I love seeing him in the videos. You guys have a great bond. I love everything about your family, and I love the story you're telling to people and living your truth.
You're
And
done.
my kids,
You're done.
my God, you know what? I am done. I got to go to phone calls because they're blowing up with support for you.
Blow
So I
up
hope
that
you can
wiener.
watch it at home.
She
and
said
listen
blow
to
up that
everybody who
wiener.
wants to say great things. Bailey
Come
Dupree,
on.
thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, my
That is so good.
It just seems like the only phrases that she was saying were dirty, and that is not necessarily a huge part of Tourette's.
Yeah, she says what, 10%?
But she said, F you. We should start talking about her boyfriend, whose name's Colin. He's like, F you, Colin. Shove it up your ass.
But see, like Cuomo, to me, seems more ridiculous in that clip.
Oh, yeah. He's
Like
always
the
been that way.
syrupy nonsense. My kids love repeating your lines. Fuck you, Chris.
Yeah.
That's the line. I mean, what exactly are we supposed to
Dude,
take?
that's if your kids are saying that line, that's fantastic.
Yeah, I don't get it. I that is absurd.
Well, anybody that says I'm proud of you for living your truth, that's a huge red flag.
Maybe it's that she has Tourette's, but she used the fact she had Tourette's to purposely put in a few liners, maybe?
Yeah. Take a few shots.
Well, I know there are people who fake disorders online. Like, there's a whole bunch of this going on social media because clout and getting attention and things like this. And whenever you find something that's trendy, people are going to fake it. And,
Yeah.
and right now, that's trendy on social media is these people who are raising awareness, which is like the worst phrase in the world, but raising awareness over Tourette's and associative identity disorder or whatever that's called, where like nobody actually has it. It's not
Yeah.
even, it may not even be a real thing, But you have people who are, oh, my alter is Andrew, and he likes to dress like he's playing rec room basketball every day. And my other alter is John Byrne, and he is a recovering drug addict who plays the guitar terribly.
Oddly
You know,
enough.
it's just weird. These are weird things. I'm just throwing these out here, but like those are my alters. That's a fake thing.
Yeah.
But there are people online who will tell you it's real, and then you find a doctor who says, yes, this is possible. But it's based on a movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's doctors out there that'll tell a 12-year-old to cut their penis off.
Yep.
You know, so doctors aren't really. I had a conversation on the air the other day. I was talking about Peter Hotez, who is not a guy that's in shape. He went on Joe Rogan at one point, and he.
Did he ever actually go on?
Well, yeah, but I think this was either right after or right before COVID.
Oh, okay.
And he was asking. They were talking about some stuff, and he was like, yeah, you really need to get your vaccines, blah, blah, blah. And Joe Rogan's like, yeah, all that's important, but what about, like, do you take vitamins? He's like, no, I don't take vitamins. And he was like, well, what about junk food? He's like, yeah, me and my daughter, we go and we get a cheeseburger from Shake Shack. We call it our special day or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joe Rogan starts hammering him kind of about that stuff. And he's finally like, wait, you're a doctor. You're trying to tell people how to be healthy, but you're not living any of this stuff. Right. He's like, do you exercise? Well, not really. He's like, well, who's supposed to listen to you? And I'm saying, listen, there's probably some chubby doctors out there, but do you really want to take advice? Like, if you go to the doctor and your doctor is really out of shape, is that the guy you want to be taking advice from?
Oh, it all depends. I mean, I'm not sure that just because they're fat or whatever, they're not to be listened to. But guys like him, and
Peter Hotez definitely doesn't need to be listened to.
Right. Yeah, well, but he's on television doing all these things, and yeah, it's easy to say, well, how come you're not living this thing? You're out here scolding people and acting like that. Well, look, here's the thing we also know about, like, COVID, for example. Not that we need to spend too much time on this, but
yeah, because YouTube will pull us down.
Anyway, go outside, work out,
yeah,
and you're going to be better off.
That's it.
And the reality is, pre-existing condition of being fat, that was the problem. If we wanted to truly solve the issue, we should have mandated treadmills, not vaccines.
Yeah.
And that would have probably saved more people. Like force people, you have to run on this treadmill 1 hour a day or your lights are going to go off and your streaming's going to go down or something along those lines. And that would have probably been a better way to take care of people.
Well, back in the day, doctors who used to come in incredibly overweight and smoke a cigarette during your visit.
I remember those good old days.
We trusted those people. I mean, it wasn't a big deal back then. Man, you see, that's what's wrong with you.
Well, and again, there's a difference between personal choice and guys like that were not advocating for personal choices. They were advocating for government solutions. You will get this shot. You will get locked down. You will wear a mask. You will do these things, as opposed to, I recommend you this. I recommend you that. I recommend you this. They're telling you you're going to.
Right.
And they're supporting those mandates. And you know that's where my problem with all of this lies.
Yeah. Well, let's move past that before we get banned on YouTube. So, how long have you been in the radio business? When did you start?
I started in 2003. I started at the University of Florida. I was going to...
Sorry.
Say what you need to. What was the score?
I don't remember. It was forever ago.
Hey, don't worry. This is Tennessee's year. This is the one. Next year.
Next year is,
Next year, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not the last 15 where they said that. This next one. 2003, University of Florida. I went and I was working at a radio station there doing news. I was like, this sucks. I don't really like this. So I did that for about 2 weeks, and I was like, this is dumb. I want to work for a talk station. So I went to the local talk station, The Sky, 97.3, The Sky. Big FM talker in Gainesville, huge, wildly successful station. I started working there for a little bit as an intern, and then I got hired to produce the morning show. Then I asked, hey, can I have that Sunday show? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever, take that. Did that for a little bit, and then I often got my first real job in Panama City. It was 2005, right after I graduated from the University of Florida, the number 6 communications school at the time and the number 1 party school at the time.
I graduated high school in 2003. What any notable people you worked with over the years? Because you went from Panama City to Birmingham,
Yes.
then to Huntsville.
Yes. I was in Panama City. I was part of a show called The Attack Machine down in Panama City on Talk Radio 101. And then we got hired away to come to Birmingham on YDE.
Same company?
No.
Wait, no.
Different
Okay.
company.
Wait, The Attack Machine
That's
was
what
the
it's
name
called.
of your show
The Attack Machine.
in Panama City.
Yep.
Did you bring that with you to Birmingham?
I did. And it lasted about 4 months. Yes, on YDE.
What's the psychology behind The Attack Machine?
Oh,
I understand it was a different time.
I thought it was a neat name. I mean, that's really what it was.
Was the gimmick?
I started
too-
a website when I was in college called The Attack Machine. That's where it started. And I just thought it was a neat name because everyone's like, oh, the Right Wing Attack Machine, that kind of thing. So the show was The Attack Machine.
Well, my first political talk show was called The Mighty Blowtorch, but that was because it was on a 1,000 watt AM station.
So
And I
sarcastic.
thought it was, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
But okay, so you moved The Attack Machine to Birmingham.
Then we're there for about 4 months, get blown out. YDE, the company. I believe you worked there. For
Yeah,
a
I
while.
worked there.
Yeah. So it was unfair and it was wrong. And,
What happened?
Do you know Bert and Kurt?
Yes, but not personally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty familiar with Burton Kurt.
Yeah, we
I
actually
worked with him.
discussed bringing them on this podcast.
You should
Yeah.
bring them on. Are they live?
Yeah, they both
Oh,
are.
that's unfortunate. But so Bert and Kurt worked to get me fired. And I believe Bert, one of these guys called into the show.
I think it was
one
Kurt.
day. One of them was like, hey, Dale. And I was like, wow, what an asshole. So
That's pretty chilly.
yeah, so he tried to call in and make nicey. And I'm like, you worked to get me fired. Why are you calling this radio show to try to have a nice conversation with me?
I remember that. That was like, 6 or 8 months ago that happened.
And I don't know why people do this to me. Like, people wrong me, and then they try to call into my radio show and to be destroyed. So, it's happened before. Hank Irwin did it. Former state senator Hank Irwin did that one time, and I'm like, why are you calling me?
Wait, what was the
So
process?
all those guys worked together to get me fired, actually.
Well, what was the Bert and Kurt role in getting you fired?
Oh, okay. So these guys were on Legends 1260 or some nonsense.
I was actually the program director during that time for that company.
How
John
fitting.
Bird's got a tie with everything.
How fitting. Legends 1260. Yes, you're such legends. No offense, John Bird. You're such
John Bird is a legend.
You're such legends that in 2007, you're doing mornings on 1260 a.m. That's what you do with legends, especially legends who are still drawing. You put them on 1260 a.m. in the morning.
Well, listen, Rick
Not the
Flair-
100,000 watt FM talker. No. No. These guys are legends.
No, they give you
1260.
a wrestling gimmick. Ric Flair's a legend, but you're not going to get him to main event WrestleMania.
Ric Flair could draw today.
That's true.
Yeah.
Bert and Kurt, I'm not going to say it, but yeah.
We get it.
Yeah. So, anyway, they were not happy.
They were not happy to be legends.
No. They were not happy.
They were just not happy. Okay.
They were not happy. And so I was like, God, at that time I must have been 28 years old at this point. And they basically had it out for us. And they gunned for us, and they lied, and they got us. And that's what happened.
What'd they lie about?
They said that we were cursing on the air, which was a lie. Just an absolute lie. And then they went out and they took things and tried to turn people against us. And they were successful because they were legends.
They're Bert and Kurt.
I mean, they were Bert and Kurt.
Kurt.
And basically, look, in this business, we all know this. You hit the right person with the right comment at the wrong time, you can get screwed.
Yeah.
Okay? So, and they went out of their way. And look, John Bird will tell you this. He acknowledged he did this. Okay? He all but said, yes, that's true. It's exactly what I did. And so let's just say I don't hold grudges.
No, I can tell.
Yeah, so I don't hold any grudges at all for anything. But yeah, so they worked even hard. Best thing that ever happened to me, though. I mean, no question about it. It is the best thing that ever happened to me. The job in Huntsville, that station's changed formats like 6 times since then.
Yeah. But yeah, the best thing that ever happened to most of us is not being there anymore.
Right, exactly. So then I got to WVNN, and it's been golden since then.
I never had any problems while I was there, but in retrospect, I'm like, that was a dead end deal right there.
Yeah, it's not the people locally, except for Bert and Kurt, that were the problem.
Right.
It's they have a bigger structural problem.
Yeah, Russ and D, that was my undoing.
Yeah, that was before
horrible.
I got there. I think
Was
actually we replaced Russ and D. That's actually why we were brought in.
Why was Russ and D so bad?
Well, Russ and D are very sweet. I mean, they really are. They're very nice. But when they perceive a wrong, the talons come out.
Yeah.
Mm.
They had an issue with Bob Riley, the former governor of Alabama.
Yeah, and that's what ended up costing them. And see, Matt Murphy.
And Masons and all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, because Murphy was there as well.
Yeah, we brought him on board from Montgomery, and he and I were getting along, saying, okay, let's try this with the show and try that with the show. And Matt, of course, didn't always agree with Russ and D. And Russ and D were going to walk out on their show. So they said, Matt, are you with us? Matt was like, no, I don't agree.
But they're going to walk out on the show for what?
Yeah, for some perceived, I don't even remember.
Okay.
But
some goofy
but the
radio
thing
stunt.
is, they hated him from that point forward.
Oh no, this was not a radio stunt. This
No,
is how they were.
Yeah.
They were mad about something, so they were.
That was from what I understand. I wasn't there. Chaotic. Were you there when I was there?
No.
Okay,
I got screwed over right before you came on.
Okay. All right. So I
Do
don't
we want to talk about who screwed you over?
No.
Okay.
I like talking about
I know
that
who it
stuff.
is, but
I'm a fan of airing dirty laundry and
Yeah, I know.
talking bad about people who wrong you.
Well, my therapist has told me not to say the name out loud for my own mental health.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That's not a bad idea.
And I'm sure Bert and Kurt are fine people, but they just didn't show it.
Right.
I mean, maybe they're great human beings.
Really far deep down inside,
Yeah, I mean,
they're good.
and maybe
people.
they are. I mean, look, if I was a legend, and I am, I like to take people under my wing and help them, and then screw them later.
Right.
Okay, I don't want to screw them right out of the gate. I gotta lull them in first.
This is
True
why I
opponent.
never let you help me, because
Yeah.
I don't want to get that process started.
Right. So, but yeah, I'm sure they're great people somewhere, somehow, maybe,
Yeah.
possibly. I don't really believe that, by the way. I'm just throwing that.
No, I didn't think you did. So you leave Birmingham, you get fired. All right. So you move over to WVNN, where you are
Huntsville.
today.
Yep.
What year was that?
God, that was 2000. I was only there for 6 months, so that was 2007. Yeah.
That was a long time
That's
ago.
A long time ago.
We actually found a video, like I think it's like an ad.
Well, that's way more recent than that, but yeah.
Let's see, what was this? 7 years ago?
Yeah.
That's not recent.
I mean, and if we're talking about 17 years, it's more recent than. Yeah.
So is this an ad for WVNN only? Was Matt Murphy on WVNN at one time?
Matt Murphy and I were doing shows on 1070 WAPI and WVNN. And Matt was also on in WLWI down in Montgomery as well. We were putting together a little network before Talk 99.5 came around.
But why don't they syndicate any of us anymore? I'm sure we're better than all the other programming.
Well, I mean, one, it's hard. Okay, I mean, selling's hard, and when you don't have a local person, that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I don't know anything about all that.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's really it. Also, it is just, it's a different business. It's easier to syndicate now than it's ever been.
Right.
Ever. But part of the appeal is local programming. And that is part of the appeal. It says the guy who's on in another market that he doesn't live in. I understand that. But the appeal is you can have people that you can go and say, hey, this person goes here and this person goes here, and you can sell that. So being in two markets, there's a positive to it, but it's a harder sell. That's really the.
It's harder to do as well because your breaks are. Every break's probably a hard break, right?
No, there's no. The technology exists to do it very easily.
Okay, I don't want to
The
get into
technology
dynamics
is super
of it. I
easy.
just-
It's not the problem is not the getting the show from point A to point B. That's not the issue.
Right.
It's the monetization of said program.
Yeah. Tony, back that video up to the very
No,
beginning.
let's leave it right there. It looks good.
We don't.
It's a good look.
A goofy
you
look on
ready?
your face.
Here we go.
Go for it.
The
New
world is an
WVNN.
uncertain place. Politics, terrorism, general chaos. You want to be informed with what's happening in your community, your nation, and your world.
Start your mornings with me, Alabama Mornings, weekdays 5 to 9.
And then me at work, Matt Murphy's show starting at 9.
And we have talk radio legends, Rush Limbaugh,
Legends.
Michael Savage, and Mark Levin to help get you through your day.
Online at WVNN.com or on your app, download on your mobile device.
It's the only radio station of relevance in North Alabama. News Talk, 770 AM, 92.5 FM, WVNN. Depend on it.
Oh man, they got locked and loaded.
Ooh, a little bit of stereo going
Go
there.
back to the first frame where me and Matt are both in the frame.
All right, one second.
Find me that because I want to show you something here. That's actually kind of funny. Any frame that we're both in actually doesn't really matter because
There you go.
there's a pretty funny thing here. If you look,
Hey, Alabama Mornings,
we're wearing the exact same jacket.
Wow, you are.
It's a green screen that we're not on the screen at the same time.
Did y'all do that on purpose?
No, Murphy didn't bring a jacket.
Oh wait, y'all shot that separately.
Yeah, we said at the same time but separately because they had like one microphone. Or
Wow.
something.
You know what? I've noticed you are quite a bit bigger, almost in a cartoon-like way
Like in
than
front of
Matt. So I think the distance was a
Yeah.
little different.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you guys are about the same size.
Yeah. So I'm much fatter than
You're a little closer to the camera, I think.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Did y'all? Who came up with this idea? It's like, hey, let's do a commercial and hold the guns.
Oh, that was fun.
Yeah.
This thing ran for I think 3 days. I think it lasted for about.
Where was it running? On local TV?
Yeah, we had like a TV train or something that it was running on up there in North Alabama, and yeah, it lasted about 3 entire days before guns. Oh, you can't have guns in the commercial.
You're lucky you didn't get canceled.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Like,
I liked it personally, you know. So.
it's a ridiculous commercial. That was the point. They're like, you have a commercial, go do something with it. Okay, we'll do something ridiculous. Why not?
I've never gotten any commercials.
Look at you.
Look at me. I'm made for commercials. We had a billboard one time. I had 101. They did a trade with a billboard company. We run some ads for them, blah, blah, blah. The billboard was a digital billboard, so we were like one of 5 ads that would rotate.
Right.
They put it on the southbound lane of I-65 in Pelham at the Oak Mountain exit, which is where our signal stops.
Yeah, that seems. I was gonna say that seems like an odd place to put it.
So they put the billboard up. People are leaving Birmingham. They can no longer pick the station up. And nowadays, it'd be smarter to market it as listen online, but there wasn't a whole lot of thinking things through back then.
Yeah, I remember their website wasn't that great, and their listening online wasn't that great either.
So 2007, you've had a lengthy career at WVNN. You hold like 20 different roles.
Yes.
You host a sports show. I don't think people know this.
I used to a lot more. I have a show on the ump. You may hear.
You say I used to a lot more, like you just get to decide when you want to do that show?
Yeah, pretty much. News and Views airs there as well. So it airs on a delay there. But before that, we were doing a show, me and Yaffe.
Is this just the Del Jackson FM? Or are you just on all the shows?
Yeah.
All Dale, all the time.
They're like, take the station and make it as successful as you are.
And you said I'm going to put myself on every show.
Myself there. Why not? Why not? We were doing a sports show called The Bullpen on the weekends, and people liked it. Then we started changing the programming a little bit, more man talk centric. News and Views is on there. Yaffe does a show called The Yaffe Hour on there. What a great name! I came up with it myself. It's fantastic. And we got some other programming on there. Chris Reed, The Daily Controversy, some sports programming.
I know Chris Reed.
Yeah, and so some other things on there, and yeah, it's been really good. I think it's so. It's all about. I like that we're given the opportunity to maybe experiment here and there and do stuff. And so I like that idea, and I like giving people opportunities. I mean that I think is a big part of this business that I think we don't often get. And people, like we were talking before, coming up through the system, you kind of want to help other people along the way. Now I tell my employees all the time. I said, I'm helping you so I can put you in front of me when they come swinging that budget cut axe.
Yeah.
So I can just be like, get them.
That's the one I wouldn't get full time to.
That one over there. Go get them. and so you've put as many bodies between you and the act
a good idea.
as you possibly can. But yeah, I think there needs to be more experimentation. I think in our business sometimes, and I'm a big fan of just asking for stuff, like just ask to do different things, and sometimes they say yes, and sometimes they say no, and sometimes they go fine, and just whatever. That I think is a big part of the success in this business as well. And I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
In Huntsville, I have probably the best general manager that works in the business. No question about it. And I've seen some really bad general managers. Okay. I mean, really bad.
Who's the worst one?
Really, really bad ones. I've seen some really, really bad
You
ones.
like dropping names.
Yeah.
Who is it?
I've seen some really, really bad ones. I'm not going to drop names on that one.
What made them bad?
Let me tell you this. I've had more general managers than I've had producers. Okay, and I have, and I had some really bad ones. And John Lewis, the general manager we have now, he is great to his people. He is an honest human being. He'll tell you exactly what's going on and why it's going on. Sometimes you need protection, and I think sometimes that's lacking in this business too, is you don't have the protection that you would get from some people in the past. Maybe not so much, John. You can tell me if I'm wrong here. But it's sort of like we just don't want to deal with that problem. I always tell people this, and we probably had this conversation before. Sometimes you have a conversation with people and you think, okay, if I have to ask somebody if I can do this, are they going to think about it, or are they going to say, I don't want to deal with that? So, that sort of thing. So you run into those problems as well. And it's just, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just a different type of management style. But yeah, John Lewis is probably is the best manager I've ever had. So it's been great up there. We get the opportunity. And plus, success breeds the opportunity to do other things and stuff like that. So I've really enjoyed my time up there. Plus, I married a Huntsville girl, had a kid up there. I mean, so it's been great.
Sounds like a good dude. I mean,
yeah, oh yeah, no question about it.
As long as he's looking out for you, that's you don't get a lot of that, of course. The general managers that I've had in the past, I mean, they seem like all right people. I never knew what to look for. I'm the type of guy that just keeps my head down.
Yeah.
And I don't ask for anything.
It's a good strategy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
Like, I just stay out of the way. I did pitch to the idea of, I pitched to John Bird today, hey, why don't we start running ads for this podcast and run them on the station? He's like, now's not the time.
Yeah, keep that to yourself.
But anyway, I mean, the reason for this podcast is to bring people in the radio show. So
yeah, go to 99.5 FM. Yes,
yeah,
that's right.
That's exactly right.
That's what we're doing. We're talking about the radio show. I found a clip on YouTube this afternoon, and this thing is about 13 years old. I don't know who made it.
Oh,
but
God, this is beautiful.
This, I think, gives us a lot of gives us a little bit of backstory on hit the X there. There you go. This gives us a little bit of backstory on your career that we're talking about here. Back it up to the beginning, Tony.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
Hey there, I'm Dan Jackson. I'm a radio host on WVNN. But before that, I work for Donna 1.1 WYDE, the source in Birmingham. They fired me for posting pictures making fun of Jesus. If you don't believe me, ask folks I showed the picture to with a cackle right before I fired them. Good thing all those candidates I endorse don't know anything about my sick sense of humor. And then Cumulus Broadcasting hired me. Isn't that funny? A conservative talk station with Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and Mark Levin making me their program manager. Let Cumulus know Jesus isn't something to be made fun of. Here's the contact info.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
I mean, nailed every aspect of my personality. Yeah, there's about 9,000 things in that are just outright lies.
Oh, my God. I saw that, dude. I was like, I don't know the backstory on this, but that is amazing. That is so good.
So there's another one of those that was made, and it talks about the Mormon faith and all this other stuff. So I endorsed a candidate that this person did not like, who they thought was Mormon or something, and they flipped out. And that guy was a filmmaker.
Wait a minute. So you endorsed somebody that didn't like Mormons?
No. that they were like, he's Mormon. He's not Mormon. He's pretending he's not Mormon. He's Mormon. Mormons are bad. It's like, what is this? Why is
Who
this?
was that?
Mo Brooks.
Oh, Mo Brooks is Mormon?
No.
Oh.
That's the thing. But that's
so
one of the.
confused.
That's
There's
one of
nothing wrong with Mormons.
Right.
Yeah, it's fine.
At all. But they were like, the guy flipped out. And that guy was a filmmaker. And he decided I was public enemy number one on this. And there was a period at WVNN where candidates were running radio ads targeting me.
Really?
Yeah.
To go after Mo Brooks?
No, just go after whoever. Sometimes just to go after me. And I'm like, why are you doing this? This is, you're running. Thank you for the money, dummy. I mean, but that's it literally makes no sense. But there was a period where the ads would run. Who are you going to believe? Dale Jackson or Mark Levin?
And they were running that on your station?
Yeah, on my show.
Oh, that's
Oh
good.
my God.
Okay, great.
That's good.
And thanks for the money, dummy. I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
We could do that as like a parody. Like, don't believe Andrew McLean. He's
Right.
a
No,
big
that's
fat
exactly
liar.
right. It's exactly right. And, it's kind of funny to see that kind of play out because none of those guys won. Just because it just doesn't make it's not a good strategy. Why are you attacking
No, that is a bad
a
strategy.
popular radio host in town on the station you're advertising on?
Yeah, don't. If you're gonna do it, don't put it on your station. That's
Yeah,
a
well,
horrible
you're right.
idea.
Put it on other stations and at least promote my show.
yeah. I don't know, man. So, that's not. Is that the same guy that made that one that you're talking about?
Yeah, it's the same. He made a series of those.
Who is he?
His name was Lad Ellinger or something along those lines.
Lad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got
If
beaten
that's
up
your-
a lot as a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah,
I'll
he did.
bet.
Well,
If that's your real name.
And again, it just went nuts. I mean, people are crazy about politics. It's not just now. I mean, people have been crazy about that was 2009
That just doesn't make a lot of sense.
or something like
well,
that.
you
So-
had this. You've had a lot of fights per se with
I
a
don't know what
lot
you're
of
talking about.
with a lot of people.
I rarely get contentious on my program.
Let me say this: the first time I ever talked to Dale Jackson, I was at 101, and I get a phone call. Hey, it's Dale Jackson. I'm like, you made? What did he say? He said, "Hey, it's Dale Jackson. Can I come on your show? I want to talk about Troy King." I think it was during an election, and I'm like, I knew who you were. I'd never talked to you before, and I'm like, yeah, I don't care. And then I went and asked somebody, and they were like, no, you can't. He's on camera. But he was like, called me out of the blue, and he's like, I got a good story. Let me be on your show. And then obviously it never came to fruition.
Right.
But there's that big backstory on Troy King, who was
The Attorney General.
Attorney General for Alabama, and he was upset with you initially. Why?
Okay.
I know we've been through this story, but it's
No,
interesting.
I love this story. This is my favorite radio story, life story of all time. I love this story, okay? Here's what happened. Troy King was the Attorney General of Alabama.
What year is this, by the way?
God, this must have been 2009.
12?
No, 9. This was very early on.
Okay.
Troy King was the Attorney General of Alabama. And what was going on was I was doing this thing called Dale Jackson to Catch a Predator. You know, it's sort of like the old Chris Hansen to Catch a
Sounds
Predator.
good.
Yeah. So I made a fake Facebook page, got a bunch of people to message it, and then was like, look at these people. That was basically the bit.
And would you put that on blast on the radio show?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
nice. That's actually a good idea.
Right. And so I was doing that. And one of the people I caught was like a volunteer firefighter or something. And I wasn't saying names on the radio. The context of all of this is Troy King had come out and said, we've made Facebook safe because now sexual predators can't use Facebook.
And so this was your motivation to do that.
And I was like,
Okay.
yeah, they can't use Facebook under the name John Bird because that guy's a sexual predator, right?
No, I'm not. By the way, I am not.
People will clip audio from here, so you're going to be careful.
But you can't use that. Okay, like but you could go on there and be John Bird BYRD. Like
Right.
you could be that, and so that would be fine. So it's like you're not actually protecting anybody. You're just pretending you're doing something because
Yeah.
you're linking the database to this other thing. So I said, okay, here's what I'm doing. I'm going to show you that this is stupid. And if you got young kids on here, and I'm not kidding you. You can probably do this still to this day. I made a fake profile of a 14-year-old girl, and within like days, people were contacting this thing.
Dang.
And it's just strange. You didn't even have to do anything. So I started, antagonizing these people, essentially. found out where they worked and all these things. And one of the fire chiefs from Madison County contacted me and said, I want you to tell me who this is. I said, I'm not telling you anything. I said, but if you come to the station for an interview and I happen to leave it up on my computer, I mean, then when you see it, then you could maybe do that. So we did sort of that. So I had Troy King on. I was like, you realize how stupid this thing you said was, right? And he's like, well, yes, you've kind of proven that.
Did you have a relationship with Troy King
I mean, it was
at
just,
that point?
I interview him every now and then. But
Okay.
It wasn't like a good relationship.
So that time he came up, he was like, hey, this is ridiculous. Were you saying this on air?
Yeah. So
and what was his response?
Well, as I showed him, he's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, we're trying. And I was like, yeah, you're trying. But just don't give people false hope that this is.
Don't tell them it is safe before it's safe.
It's a safe space. It's never going to be a safe space.
It's never going to be safe.
It's never going to be a safe space. If you're a 14-year-old girl, creepy guys are going to be creepy.
Mm-hmm.
And parents should monitor that. That was my point. So he comes up, and we have this conversation about that. And at the end of the interview, maybe it was on the phone. At the end of the interview, there was a bunch of rumors going around with Troy King because they hated Troy King. Troy King was like a monster. Okay, they had a real problem with him. One of Alabama's laws said you couldn't sell sex toys or some nonsense, and so they were like sending him inflatable goats and like all sorts of crazy stuff to his office.
It's kind of silly.
Yeah, and they were doing all this stuff. In the Birmingham News were writing editorials implying that he was having an extramarital relationship with a guy. That's what they were doing.
I remember that,
right.
actually.
But they wouldn't say it directly, so they were just hinting around it. So I got him on, and I said, hey, let's address this stupid thing that's going on. And this is how exactly how I said it. Let's address this stupid thing that's going on. Let's talk a little bit about how they're suggesting that you're having an extramarital relationship on your wife with another man. I said, have you ever been caught in bed with a man by your wife? And he said, I don't respond to rumors.
Oof.
And I was like, whoa.
Don't do that.
I'm like, well, I mean, you kind of just did, right? Like, and I said, look, it's not that hard to say no. And I asked him again, and he said, well, Dale, as the Attorney General of this state, I have a lot of things to do, and one of those things is to not respond to rumors. And I was like, nah, that's a bad answer. I mean, I'll just give you an example of how bad it is. Hey, Andrew McLean, you ever been caught in bed with another guy?
No, I have not.
Okay. Just
See how easy that was?
Yeah, it's that simple. So months go by. There's a special election in Madison County. Paul Sanford, Laura Hall, they're running for State Senate District 9 or something like 7 or something like that. Sam Gavand is in that seat now. So it's 7. So the day before the election, or the day of the election, I did a joke on the radio. I was like, Democrats vote Tuesday, or Democrats vote Wednesday, Republicans vote Tuesday.
And this was a very minor race.
Yeah.
It's not like it's a huge deal.
And I framed it so ridiculously. I'm a Cowboys fan. Marion Barber was the running back for the Cowboys at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He had an asexual name. So I was like, I use this. So the Honorable Marion Barber from the Office of Electoral Elections, which is not a thing, held a coin flip ceremony on the steps of City Hall in Huntsville, and Democrats vote on Wednesday because Republicans won.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a fake press release and everything like this. Ha ha ha. Dumb joke. Very funny.
Where can we get our hands on this press release? Is there still a copy of that
Laura
floating
Hall.
around?
Ask Laura Hall. She probably knows where it is. But anyway, Laura Hall lost and claimed it was because of the press release. So
Laura Hall was the Democrat?
Yeah. She's in the House still, State House right now. Because she was in the House and she was running for the Senate. And they went and tried to imply that I was handing these out at the polls. So it was like a breaking news thing. And I'm like, what? So I called the Secretary of State's office and I said, hey, it was me. I did it. It was me. And
was it? It was me.
It was me. It was me all along. That kind of stuff. And I said to them, I said, you realize this is a joke, right? Oh, yeah. No big deal. So some time goes by. Get a knock on my door. It's an investigator for the Attorney General's office. They're investigating voter fraud, voter intimidation, all this other stuff. So the guy comes in. We're laughing about it. He's like, did you do all this stuff? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, do you have anything? And I'm stupid. This is how dumb I am.
Oh, God. This is back in the day.
Yeah.
The good old days when they actually cared about voter fraud.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I did that. Oh, here's a tape. Here's the thing. Here's the it's like I just hand over everything he had. And I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, I did it. I mean,
right.
I did that. I did the thing that they were claiming was. It's not voter fraud, but I did it.
Right.
So this whole thing, the guy goes away. He leaves his gun in my house.
Really?
Yes, the attorney general.
On accident.
No, yeah, of course. He was like playing with my dog, and like his gun fell out.
Wow.
So later that day, he calls me up. He's like, "Can I get my gun?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, sure, no problem." You know,
Wow.
yeah,
You left your gun at the criminal's house.
yeah, you should probably come and get your gun. Yeah. So
That's
this is how
fair.
worried they were, and he laughed. He's like, "This is dumb." Some time goes by. I get summoned. A notice to appear at a grand jury. They're gonna try to charge me with some crimes. I'm like, oh no, this is a bad idea. So
Were you sweating it at that point?
oh my
You getting
God,
nervous?
yes, absolutely. So I hire an attorney, Mo Brooks. I hire Mo Brooks. He's a county commissioner at the time. He and I are friendly.
Yeah.
We're more friendly now because he's helped me with this. We go to the courthouse, and at the courthouse, the attorney general, or not the attorney general, because he's a whatever. But they brought.
You can say whatever you want on this one.
They brought someone else instead of the attorney general. The investigator and Mo Brooks and I were sitting at a table across from each other, and the attorney general's bitch says, "Look, here's
not the guy he was in bed with, but
no. It says, here's the deal. We'll offer you plead guilty to one of these charges, and it's voter fraud, voter intimidation, misappropriation of the state seal, and forgery. 2 felonies, 2 misdemeanors, 33 years in jail. Plead guilty to one of these charges, and we will waive. We'll ask for a suspended sentence. We'll drop all the other stuff. No big deal. Whatever. You're good for a little bit. It'll fall off your record." And I'm like, oh, okay, great. That's fine. And Mo's like, "Excuse us. I want to talk to my client." They get up and they leave. And I was like, "So which one are we going to plead to?" And Mo's like, "None of them." He said, "The second you do this, they're going to hold a press conference on the steps of the building, and you're going to get fired."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "They've got nothing here. Like, and if they do make a big deal about it, this will be huge. It'll be really good for you. It'll be really good for you, So this is a First Amendment case." And so we go in, and the guy's like, "So which one are you going to plead guilty to?" All cocky, like, "Which one are you going to plead guilty to?" And I said, "We're not. We'll roll the dice." And he's like, "You don't have to listen to him. You know that, right?" And he's saying this to me, and he's like, "You're the client. He's the attorney. You don't have to listen to him." And I said, "No, we're going to do it." So he gets up and he leaves. As he leaves, I don't know how much I can do here, but the guy reaches across the table, grabs both sides of the table, and leans forward and goes, "They don't have a fucking thing." He's like, and this is the guy that investigated the case,
right?
And he's like, "They don't have a fucking thing," and I'm like, "Oh my God!" He's like, "They're gonna tank the case. They're gonna tank the case." And I went in there and they tanked the case.
Wow.
So it was an attempt to scare me,
right,
and get me to plead just to anything. They knew if they took it any further, they were screwed.
Mm-hmm.
But it was political intimidation, political persecution. The mainstream media in the state, the only thing they covered is that I was under investigation, and they never touched it again.
Nope.
They never
touched it. As soon as they
it.
tanked it, they're like, man.
I told them. They knew. They did not care. The only thing they wanted was Dale Jackson. And I still have these schmucks like Tim Lockett, formerly of the Anniston Star, and now he's obsessed with penises and vaginas and libraries. That's his thing now. You've got to have these books. You've got to have it. And now he is obsessed, and he'll throw that out there. "Oh, well, what about this?" And I was like, "Well, what about your 25-year career that's gone up in flames? What about that? Can we talk about that?"
Was that guy still got heat with you? Still mentioned you and stuff?
Oh yeah, obsessed. I mean, he didn't do anything about it. He just occasionally throws that. That's like a defense mechanism.
Okay.
I mean, if you Google Dale Jackson, it's one of the first things that'll come up.
Gotcha.
Because it's awesome. So, like I said, I beat the attorney general's ass.
But not in the way that his boyfriend did.
Well, I didn't say beat up. I said beat his ass.
Mm.
And then he comes up to me one day at a meeting and tries to have a conversation with me. And I don't know why people insist on doing this to me.
Yeah.
Like they try to screw me over, and then they want to have public conversations with me. and so we have it out in like the middle of a Madison.
Just like the Burt and Kurt deal.
Yeah, similar, very similar.
Mm.
I was like, "Why are you even talking to me? You tried to ruin my life and put me in jail. Like, get away from me. Just go away."
Mm.
So that was one of my favorite. My favorite. I mean, it was all the controversy that came from that was great for my career.
Yeah,
it really was. It was great. It was great for my career, because there's a little bit of, bad boy, this guy's, big. And so I played that up because it's true. I mean, they did want to put me in jail for something I did on the radio.
That's actually a really cool story, and I wish
it wasn't cool to live it until the very end.
I was going to say, I wish I had a story like that I didn't have to live, because I'd have been like you. I'd have been scared. Oh my God.
I was terrified.
Because it wasn't just, hey, you're going to get charged. It was, you're going to get charged and you're going to lose your job and everything.
And you'll never work again.
Did the station seem to be backing you up throughout all this?
Well, they suspended me when it first started. When it first started. They didn't know about the other stuff. So I did not run in and be like, look at me, look at what I'm doing.
I got suspended for a couple of days at my first station, but it was because, you remember the guy, they called him Fred, and he used to run up to news reporters and grab the mic, and he would yell, F her right in the P. I took a picture of him, or it was a meme, and it said, not all heroes wear capes, and I hung it up in the studio. Well, then a guest came in one day on another show and saw it and realized who it was, and it got me suspended for a couple of days.
Was this at YDE?
No. This was in Anniston.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was like, I didn't think anybody was going to know what that meant. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
But there's no bad blood. Like, they just felt like they had to do something.
Yeah,
because one
you have
guy
to.
in particular was really upset.
And sometimes that's protecting you.
Yeah,
I
agree.
mean, sometimes that is offering protection. You sort of say, okay, this guy's suspended. We've done something about it. Now let's move on.
What about wrestling? I would be doing a disservice to the audience if we didn't talk about your wrestling career.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, really?
Didn't you want to wrestle Andrew at one point?
I did.
Yeah.
I've transitioned into wanting to fist fight him.
We have another room right over here.
Yeah,
we can broadcast.
I'm in with that. I've always wanted to have a fist fight with you.
What would happen if we had a fist fight and I just completely beat you down?
I deserve it.
What if,
I would deserve it,
what
right?
if I beat you down like Troy King?
I would deserve that. Okay, I mean that's part of the risk of these things. Yeah, I'm 100% in on that.
All right, guys, what it needs to be is a slap fight. There's nothing cooler than seeing two guys slap the crap out of each other.
Oh, you mean like this, like the
Yeah. Now that, and we would even let you switch sides. Now that would be interesting because somebody's going to start crying.
We could do a pepper eating contest.
Not doing that.
Yeah, no, don't.
Not doing
Don't.
that. Look, the wrestling stuff is amazing. Like it's we have a lot of perks in this job. There are a lot of perks that come along with this job and the ability to do different things that you would never get the opportunity to do before. I always tell people, just ask. Who cares if they say no? Just go and ask things.
Yeah.
And, you get these opportunities. And I was a wrestling promotion in Athens called me up one day and asked me if I would come out and do like some guest ring announcing or something for them. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then that turned into a guest referee thing. Then it turned into taking a bump. And then I went over to Rocket City Championship.
No, wait, you got to give some context. You didn't take a bump of Coke. Taking a bump
That's
is a
what I
wrestling
was
term.
thinking.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. Take a bump in the ring.
Okay.
And I did some training, and I wrestled a match, and we won. And then I wrestled another match and won the tag team champions. And then COVID hit, so I held the tag team championship until they stripped it from me from COVID. And then I participate in the Rocket City Rumble almost every year.
Was the wrestling thing ever in your mind like good promotion for the show? Like, were you doing that to benefit the radio show, or was it just kind of a side deal? Did you ever mesh the two? Because
I meshed the two.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like they're absolutely married together. I mean, there's a reason why people talk to me about wrestling all the time. Because I talk about it.
Yeah.
And when you're running through like your gimmicks, for lack of a better term, undefeated professional wrestler. That's a cool thing moniker to have. So
is.
So I talk about it regularly. I really enjoy it. It's fun, and the people who are involved in it are down to earth, like really, really cool people. But yes, to answer your question, mesh it together. Yes, I'd love to mesh it together more. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I'm old. I mean, you gotta remember that. I didn't take my first bump till I was like 39 years old, and so
I'm not even 39 years old.
Right.
I don't know what that's like.
Right, and it hurts. I got a concussion in my first match. I got kicked square in the face. because I'm stupid. Like, it was my own fault.
I always wondered why you were the way you are.
I'm standing on the edge of the ring in the first match, and it's a 6-man tag match. And there's a guy in the ring. Me and this other guy are standing on the corner holding the ropes. And he's got, like, his face painted blue, and he's got, like, one blue eye and one white eye. Nicest guy in the world. And he's standing there, and he looks over at me, and he goes, "You all right?" I go, "No." And he goes, "Do you know what you need to do?" And I'm like, "No." So you just kind of lose your mind on what's actually going on out there. It's chaotic. One of my spots was they were to tag me in. I was supposed to run across the ring and attack a guy, and then another guy was supposed to run and get me off him and throw me out of the ring. Well, I ran across the ring too fast. I tackled the guy into the corner, so it messed the whole thing up. So I'm sitting like this, and the guy's supposed to jump over me, and he kicks me right in the head. And
Nice.
I don't know if you've ever had a concussion, but it was, for me, it was like somebody clapped, and then it just was dark.
Yeah.
And then it just faded back in. And then you're like, where am I? What am I doing? And, like, people are yelling, and you're like, what's happening here? And it just takes a second for you to realize what you're supposed to do. But, yeah, that was definitely an interesting moment. Still won the match. Hit the people's elbow, won the whole thing, you know.
I think we've actually got some footage from your most recent wrestling deal.
From the Rocket City Rumble, yeah.
That was just like a Royal Rumble type of deal. 256 today. Tony, scroll down for me until you see a video. I think it's right there. You can, scroll down. You'll be able to hit the.
That's not wrestling.
This is an interview apparently before one of your deals.
Look at that guy. Look at that shirt.
How are you feeling about your odds tonight? Tiger Kid was out here earlier, and he said 0.
He may say 0, but I happen to know some people around here. I got a pretty good number, so I think I'm going to have a pretty good shot at being there till the end.
Now, listen, you are a former champion. How does that help your odds tonight?
I know how to win. I'm a winner in life, and I'm going to be a winner tonight.
Well, we can't wait to speak to you after the Rumble, and best of luck, Dale Jackson, pro wrestler.
Hey, no question that I will be back here as the victor. So, yes, you should want to talk to me at the end, if I'll allow it.
You're the exact same way in the wrestling world as you are. Notice she says, well, thank you, Dale Jackson, pro wrestler, not Dale Jackson, radio host. Who was that interviewing you?
That's Mecca Music. She's my co-host on my TV show. Yeah, she runs 256 today. Smart news for smart people.
There's another video on there, Tony. I don't know if you closed it out, but you can just, if you want to open it back up from the email.
1 second.
Is this me getting kicked in the face?
Just hit re-up and close tab. Just right-click the top bar.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah. The top gray bar. There you go. Re-up and close tab. I have to do this a lot.
Gotcha.
So there's another video on here. I don't know if you are in this video or not, but it seems to be some action shots from the Rumble. And I haven't watched it, so I'm hoping that it's you getting thrown out of the ring.
How long is it?
How long does it say it is? 1 minute?
1 minute.
Okay, I'm probably in here. It's probably all me since I was, the star of this thing.
Okay, ready?
Let's give it a shot. You don't know those kids are like, Dale Jackson is my favorite. Oh, here he is. Oh, go straight after the big guy.
I think that's all you're going to get from me.
There's a lot of guys out here that are here every week, every 2 weeks, and they're busting their tails.
Hey, no question that I will be back here as the victor.
And there goes Dale Jackson. Man.
I like how they edited that to make me look like a jerk. I love it. I love
it. You went out. You got dumped, bro. Has there ever been any kids in the crowd that say, Dale Jackson's my favorite? Has that ever happened?
No, not even my son.
My
last time, that was the year before last. Maybe that was last year. But there's a whole scene missing out of there where a woman is like just beating the crap out of me. She's stomping me in the corner, stomping me in the chest, and my son's like, "That girl beat you up," and I was like, "Yes." But as the ultimate feminist, I ended up throwing her out at the end.
Yeah. Well, it could have been a women's empowerment moment.
Well, I mean, equal rights, equal fights.
Yeah. Fair enough. So when's the next wrestling deal? Are you doing any more? Or are you done?
I'm always down. There's one coming up in early January that I might be a part of. When do
well,
we get it?
we'll make a trip. We don't care.
Yeah.
Why don't you book one down here? You know, we could, with the radio audience, I 100% know for a fact we could fill a place up if you will do a wrestling event in Birmingham.
I'll even do a theme, an original theme for you.
We will be the ring announcers.
Find me a wrestling federation in Birmingham. We could make that happen. They'd be nuts not to want to work with us.
You want to do like regular sized people, or like a midget one?
You got to find
little person.
You need to find a group that wants to work with us, and then we can make something happen there.
But is
you
it
gotta
like
find an established group that's already doing something?
But are you under contract with Rocket City Wrestling? Like, is there going to be any crossover?
No, there's no issue there. The only issue we have is how many tables I'm going to put you through.
No, I'm not wrestling.
That's the only issue. That's the only issue at hand.
Okay. Well, we'll start looking that up and see if we can't find. I don't know what local federations or wrestling companies are around here.
Local pro wrestling is actually pretty big, so I'm sure there's something. I just don't live down here, so I don't know. Good entertainment for the kids. It's all usually pretty G-rated, so yeah.
But I mean, think about this. They'd be stupid not to do it. It's like, hey, if you will give this guy a match, you're going to get free promotion for like 2 weeks.
Just be aware, wrestling they're very territorial. These people are. They are very territorial. This is, and they don't always like it when people come in and play in their world. Just know that. It's like we were talking earlier about in radio. You have people that come from outside of the industry just appear, and they're like, "Oh, here you go," and then sometimes they're very territorial about stuff.
Well, you want to be territorial, or you want to sell tickets?
Well, either way, I'm in either way. We just got to figure that part out.
Yeah, I don't know what any of these places are, but we'll figure it out. Get me a list, and I'll start calling them.
Okay.
Well, we'll be like, hey, we'll bring you on the podcast if you got some.
And then they can put in through the table right here.
Yeah.
Talk about building out a new table to get rid of this one. That's the way to do it.
That'd be a way to do it. Yeah.
I'm always fascinated by some of the backstories on these wrestlers. So if that particular wrestling company has a wrestler that's got some real, like, he's real damaged goods and had a lot of things happen to him in the past that he could come on here and talk about, we'll give him some podcasts.
He met Dale Jackson.
Platform.
He's a damaged individual.
Yeah. I bet. How long is it going to be before you admit 9/11 was an inside job?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think we'll probably have a long time working on that. I'm of the belief that I kind of wish it was an inside job. Like I wish our government was smart enough to pull something like that off on their own and say, okay, we did this, but I just don't think it was.
So we all wish that they'd just come out and admit it at the end of the day.
I mean, in your theory, yes. But you kind of want to believe that it was not just a series of mistakes that led to that happening. Instead, it was a coordinated plot by the government to get oil. Is that where we're at? Oil?
I think it's to rally the troops to go back to war because nobody wanted to go to war
over oil.
Just in general.
Oh, just for fun.
They do like war.
Yeah.
Right. Now, don't forget those countries over there when they went to war. Iraq, Syria, all those countries, they didn't have centralized banking yet, and now they do.
Oh, there you go.
Well,
there you go. I'm looking for the admission.
Later episode.
Okay.
Yeah, I just wondered the timeline on when you were going to say that.
So you think 9/11 was an inside job?
Yeah, not necessarily.
Don't.
Well, I'm answering. Not necessarily. I mean, it's just like, I look at it like I look at Pizzagate. All right. I see a lot of shady stuff that nobody has ever been able to provide legitimate answers to. Like the Podesta
emails. Did that guy beat you to the pizza parlor with the gun? Like he got there first? Were you headed there?
What do you mean?
Were you going to free the kids from the basement at the pizza parlor?
I don't know about all that. I'm just saying.
Tony, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I don't know.
I mean, I know you're talking about the guy that tried to shoot the place up or whatever.
He didn't try to shoot the place up. He went to free the children that were trapped in the basement.
Well,
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'm not the one, and I've said this on the show countless times. Like, I'm not saying that 9/11 was a full-blown inside job. I'm just saying I'm not willing to believe that it was completely organic and that these guys just slipped through the cracks.
So
the terrorist.
So you don't think it was just terrorists, but you're too big of a pussy to say that you think it was an inside job.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm telling you exactly how I feel. It's what I've always said. My opinion's never changed on it.
Well, it sounds like what you're saying here is, do I think it's an inside job?
That was posed as
I
a
understand.
joke.
I understand. But what I'm saying here is, what you're saying is, kind of. But I think it's like the October 7th thing that happened in Israel. I think they said, okay, we've seen the idea that something like this could happen. And then it happens. And then we go back and we're like, boom, 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 boom. And it's easy to connect all those dots and say, well, you missed this and you missed this and you missed this and you missed this. Well, right. But you missed it. It's not that someone said, come on and do this. That's what I think is more likely. And, you had the whole, like, there will be attacks with planes and stuff like that. And then they didn't fight. Well, where were they going to come from? And what countries were going to be involved? And what day was it going to happen? And all these other things. Just because something might happen doesn't mean you could keep it from happening. If someone says, I'm going to shoot up a school, and then they do it 6 months later, and you say, well, we should have seen this. Well, sure, we should have, but what do you do about it?
Yeah, I think October 7th was an intelligence failure on the Israeli side.
Agreed. And that's what I think 9/11 was as well.
Now, I want to say this about 9/11. I was watching the BBC Live whenever they were going on with it, and the woman reporter was reporting that Building 7 had already fallen, and it was literally standing up in the monitor behind her. So that's the one thing that I was like, what was that?
Why would they tell her that?
Okay, so I asked you about 9/11 as a joke. I didn't mean for it to devolve
That's
into
my
a
fault,
conversation
sorry.
where somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. I was just trying to be funny. That's what I get.
That's all me.
That's what I get for being funny with Dale Jackson. But you do have a fascinating.
Funny back.
You do have a fascinating story, though. Troy King thing is number one. I like that.
That's a great story.
Trashing or actually wishing death upon Bert and Kurt. That's
I don't
a
want
good
them
one.
to die.
Well, you said it's unfortunate they're alive.
I just thought they were dead. Okay, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't want them to die ever. I hope they live forever. Because that would be terrible to be like 900 years old. So I wish that on them.
The backstory on all that stuff, I think, is truly fascinating. And I don't really ever hear you tell those stories. You've told them to me once or twice, but I never really hear you tell those stories on the radio. So I wanted the opportunity for you to come on here. And we have a lot of radio listeners that watch these podcasts and be able to tell those stories as well.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the opportunity.
And so, but now you have to go to Huntsville and you have to promote this podcast for us.
Absolutely.
You should mention it on your TV show.
What's it called?
What is it?
Oh, The Line.
Oh, over the line.
Over the line.
We'll put a big logo at the end of this podcast
right, good,
so everybody
good,
remember.
Good.
But yes, tell everybody about it, and we will boost your stock. Once they see you on this fancy podcast, they'll be like, wow, Dale Jackson finally made it.
I'm thrilled that you finally asked. I mean, this is the thing. I had to beg and beg and beg to come on this.
Let me go through our text messages real quick and give you the exact date when I asked you.
I appreciate you coming on, Dale. It was a treat having you here.
Thank you very much. I mean, I had to beg for it, but
There's 20 different messages where you said, quote, why won't you ever invite me after I invited you?
Okay. I think I mentioned on the radio like 300 times too. But the funny thing is there are a lot of people on the radio who believe that you and I hate each other.
Really?
Yeah, and the only thing is, only I hate you.
Yeah, you're the only one that takes shots at me. I don't take shots at you.
It's not the other way around. I hate you. There is a huge difference here. But no, there are people who believe that, and it's just like, guys, it's joking around. It's just good-natured fun. I mean, the people who hate each other are the people who don't mention each other. I mean,
that's true.
That's the reality.
I can agree with that.
Yeah.
Or they're calling in to apologize on their radio show, like Kurt did with you.
I don't know why he did that.
By the way, October 20th is when I first invited you to be on this podcast.
Damn.
There you go.
Which was 2 months ago.
Okay,
a month and a half ago.
I tried my best to get here, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm glad you made it. even though the circumstances were kind of rocky. Because this time yesterday, I honestly didn't know if we were going to pull this off. I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it.
I've never wished death on you.
I've only gone through 5 Ricolas during this show, which I think is a pretty good track record. I think I'm on the mend. Berner was. I was.
Can you do 4 hours
dying.
tomorrow? Because I feel like
I'm not doing 4 hours.
I'm getting sick just sitting here.
You better pre-record after the Christmas party. Which, by the way, Yellowhammer Christmas party tonight.
Yep.
Who's all part of that organization?
Myself, this guy named Yaffe.
Mhm.
He's also a part of it. Paul Shashi, Grayson Everett. Just
Shashi?
Shashi. Yeah.
Sounds like you mispronounced that. That's his last name?
That's it, right, Yaffe?
Yeah, Yaffe's here.
Yeah,
you should put Yaffe on a second.
Yeah. So it's a great organization. I've been working for it for a long time. They do a lot of great work, coverage of politics and more in the state. Yellowhammer News is a great organization.
Yeah. We used to work with them when we were at 101.
Mm-hmm.
I know the only guy I really dealt with there is Cliff Sims.
Cliff Sims, yeah, and he went off to be in the Trump administration.
Yeah. And then he left and wrote a book like everybody that leaves the Trump administration.
And then Trump hated him and then loved him.
Right.
Yeah, and then he went back and worked for him again.
BJ was the other guy.
Yeah, BJ. I love BJ.
Yeah, I knew him better than the rest of them.
Yeah.
But he's not with Yellowhammer.
He is not anymore, no.
Okay. He was like Cliff's right-hand man.
Yeah, well, he's with Cliff now.
Oh, is he?
And what they're doing, yeah. So, yeah. I mean, it's been a good team. And that talk about staying power. I mean, that Yellowhammer's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
They're the dominant. Their political coverage is better than AL.com's or anyone else. You're going to learn more about what's actually going on in the state from them than anyone else. And I think it's a great website.
Yeah, the longevity of that company has been pretty impressive. You think 1819's on that track?
I think so. I mean, they got good people. I
Yeah.
mean, they really do. I'm Jeff Poore, who you and I both know.
Right.
I put him on the radio for the first time. Huge mistake. And now he's down in Mobile. When are you having him on this?
I don't know. I hadn't
I
asked
wouldn't
him.
mind having Jeff on this.
Yeah.
I have pitched it to Scott Beeson, and he keeps, he says he'll do it, but then he just doesn't really
Scott
give me a
Beasley
date.
with 1819 as well.
Yeah. Brian Dawson.
Brian Dawson. Yeah.
I don't know that I've met him.
Saw him the other day down in Montgomery.
Well, I don't
guess
think
it's
I've met him, but I would totally. I think he's got a pretty fascinating backstory.
Yeah.
So maybe I should bring him on.
Yeah, he's one you should definitely get. You should definitely get him on.
We'll work that out. We'll do this during our strategic meeting and not during an actual episode. It's probably a good idea.
Yeah, that's right.
Dale Jackson, I appreciate it, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I hope you don't catch whatever I get.
It's pretty likely being in a room with you for the last hour and a half.
If you do catch what I have, I don't want to hear you bitching about it on the backside. Just take it like a man.
No, I will be complaining tomorrow whether I'm sick or not.
I'll be complaining too, yeah.
And I'll be doing best ofs for everybody.
That's right. John Bird, thank you. Dale Jackson, thank you. Tony Gump, thank you. And Yaffe, thank you for getting Dale Jackson here. You're a professional,
Yaffe.
personal driver. And until next time, see you, cuz.